Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another speed build for the Disney Save. Today we are working on Hopper's Hideaway from Bug's Life. This is Hopper's candid location. It is as close to a home, I believe, as he is shown having in the film, but it is essentially where all of the Grasshopper characters are seen hanging out, relaxing, partying. It is an all-encompassing place with many features, and it is going to be the final Bug's Life build for the Disney Save. Really exciting, kind of excited to move on to a new movie at this point since we have been working on all aspects of Bug's Life for quite a bit of time now. But this one is, as you can see, in a completely different neighborhood from the ones that we have previously been working on. So the little neighborhood I was doing was all Bug's Life themed, and I think I obviously could have just put this lot there as well, but it has a little bit of a different look in terms of architecture, location, style. There are some Mexican references in terms of the cultural aspect, the design, and the decor. So this particular lot and this area aesthetically looked a lot better than the other greener neighborhood that I've already been kind of working in. There's also a really large lot that remains inside that Bug's Life neighborhood, and it was going to be necessary for something that's coming up that just needed a little bit more space. Additionally, as you kind of see me go throughout the build today, you're going to notice that this area is very commercially drawn. It is essentially just parking lots and roads, and it's kind of like this strip down by the water on the bottom left corner of the Oasis Springs map. Very similar to how Willow Creek is structured. If you think about it, on the bottom left hand corner, that world also has a commercial district where it's just more parking lot, roads. It doesn't look like it will fit housing as well. And this isn't actually a house. This is a bar. We're doing a little bit of a commercial lot today. So it made sense to maybe break up some of the films that we're going to be doing in Oasis Springs so that I could do some more commercial locations, especially ones like this that have a slightly modern twist to them that look a little bit more traditionally commercial. And by that I mean with signs and glowing neon lights and something that could almost essentially exist in real life. Keep those together on this strip of 4, and we're going to be doing 4 different movies in this area. So this is the final Bug's Life build. It's just in a different neighborhood, and it made a little bit more sense to put it over here. And it is a bar. So I already did Bennett's bar, and obviously that does mean 2 bars for Oasis Springs, but we do have a rather large world here, and we really did have the space to do it. And I just think that the bar aesthetic is going to make the most sense. Also, I kind of liked the idea of the competing bar type of vibe, where Bennett's is a little bit more catered to the ant characters and the Bug's Life characters, the Bug Circus. This is for Hopper. This is the antagonist character of the film. So you could almost play it like competing bars. And if we're being honest, it's not uncommon to see a strip of similarly typed buildings in a given area. I know it's very common here in London. Lots of pubs and bars kind of back to back to give variety and choice. So it's very real and true to real life. And it doesn't look like it on the map, but Bennett's and Hopper's Hideaway are actually right next to one another. There's just kind of a road separating them and some rocks. And of course, the way that Oasis Springs is done, since it's an older world, it is not as easy to kind of visually see the rest of the neighborhoods in the world. But that is fine because it breaks it up in a way that I think is going to be aesthetically a little bit more pleasing. Because as you can see, I'm going a little bit more modern with this build. So in the movie, this is quite literally just a sombrero on the ground, probably somewhere in the Texas, lower southern US, or possibly even Mexico region of the world. And they live inside it, they play inside it. There's a pool, there is a massage table that Hopper is seen using. They play games here, there are darts, there is singing, dancing, food being distributed. So I really could have gone with a lot of different lot types. And I think I do actually have everything on the lot to turn this into a nightclub if you wanted to switch it. But I just felt like it gave more bar vibes, especially with the characters that are seen here and what they're doing. They are mostly just kind of sitting around the bar. And that's always what I picture when I decide to make something a bar versus a nightclub. But I did add all of the elements here. There's going to be a lot here with a stage and everything. It's really fun. It's super different than Bennett's too, which creates choice and is always a good idea for the save file in general. Other than literally being able to build the sombrero, which would have been really tough, and it has this inorganic sort of look to it. It's a piece of fabric just laying in the dirt against a really big cactus. I just wanted to obviously give it some structure and create it into a better looking building. So it has to be turned quite literally into a building, and then the roof can actually make up the shape of the given sombrero that they show in the film. I also wanted to include the pool outside. So in the movie, it's more like a pond, and I definitely could have gone that route, but unfortunately, Sims cannot swim in ponds. So I made the decision that I really wanted this to be more interactive than that, and I wanted it to just be a full-fledged pool. Now, the little jet ski in the pool is kind of a funny nod to a moment in the film. The theme, I would say, of Hopper's Hideaway is that the grasshopper bugs are very much bullying and using bugs that are smaller than them to complete tasks that they need done. One of those things is water skiing. They are using like these little flying bugs, probably flies or something like mosquitoes, that are pulling them through the water and essentially like skiing, water skiing. But we don't have that kind of an item in The Sims, and the closest I would say that we do have is going to be a jet ski, which I don't really get a lot of opportunity to use, but this is a modern film, so I was like, let's just go for it. Plus, it'll cause chaos, and I think that if you do remember this place from the movie, one thing it definitely has is an element of chaos because of how much is going on here and how it has this like mob boss aesthetic, if you will. Since Hopper's the main antagonist and since he is presumably rich, powerful, he has the best access to food, all of the people that work with him in like the grasshopper colony that he oversees are in power and in charge in the universe of Bug's life. So they have the nicer environment, they have a lot of stuff, they have more games, more toys, more pleasures in life. So even though this place ends up being kind of nice, like low-key a lot nicer than the one in the film, I played into it because of that aspect. I felt like Hopper is a really important high-ranking figure in his society in the movie, so him having the nicer casino bar makes sense. He's like the owner of it and it's named after him, and even though I could have definitely gone with like the dirty, grimy, more bug aspect that I think Bennett's has, I just leaned into this and I felt like it was really working when I was building, and I absolutely love how it turns out. The movie also shows that some of the bugs are kind of lounging around the pond / pool, in my case, under some little tiny, presumably like those drink umbrellas that you can get, and using it as like essentially a beach. But because this area of the map was so commercial, I decided to turn that more into just like outdoor seating with umbrellas. And the ones that I chose are actually from the new patio kit, and I absolutely love them here. They really, really work. As far as the interior goes, it's a little bit minimal in terms of decor. It's supposed to be more outdoorsy. There's lots of natural plants and rocks. They are bug characters, so that would be kind of their preference in terms of decor anyway. And I definitely leaned into Star Wars quite a bit because it has that industrial aspect. It's not a surprise at this point. I've used it quite a bit throughout all of the Bug's Life builds, as well as like the neon glowy signs. And then there are some references to like the potential location of this place in the movie, possibly being of Mexican culture or like southern United States, like Texas also potentially. So I used a lot of Lovestruck in terms of like little decor nods and just trying to bring in some of like that light cultural aspect to the build. Kind of how I described in Bennett's, but I found a way to do it in this build that made more sense here. The bugs for the bar use essentially like a flipped upside down bottle that's constantly streaming in the movie. It's actually seeds, and I think they crack them open and kind of like drink out of them or eat them. Regardless, I wasn't gonna be able to recreate that in a way that I felt like made sense and was super playable, but I did find that I could probably take one of the nectar bottles and use Tool to flip it around. And then what I actually did was take one of the jet stream water emitters in the game and put it on the underside of the bucket right underneath the bottle, and it should create the effect in live mode of like a constantly flowing stream of water coming out of the bucket or coming out of the bottle and then flowing into the bucket underneath. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit in live mode to see if I can get everything to line up correctly, but it should work. It should be kind of funny, and it's a way to bring in that feature that was shown in both bars where I did not do it in Bennett's because I really just didn't think it was gonna look very good. It actually made sense to do it here, and it's attached to the ceiling. That's why it's like kind of floating in midair. It is essentially coming through the roof, kind of exactly like how it was in Bennett's. You do get to see the bar, and it's round. I wanted to try to put two of the Star Wars bars together, but we just don't have the space in here, and I think making it any larger than this was going to kind of kill the layout a little bit. A round room, before anyone says it, would have definitely been probably the better choice in terms of trying to get accuracy. However, I really just didn't think it was gonna work out out in terms of doing the round stage, because I knew I wanted to have a stage in here. It's hard sometimes to build round rooms with then like a round platform inside of that round room. It works much better if you just live on the grid and do the actual like octagonal shape and then build a round structure inside. Again, the theme of the bugs or some other bugs being used against their will for the pleasures of the grasshoppers is on theme for the bar. There are different species of bug and they look frightened when they are playing their instruments on the stage. They're playing, I would say, like some equivalent of like banjos, but we don't have that. We do have guitars and we have a little microphone. I popped a violin in the back there because sometimes I have used violins in place of fiddles. So it's gonna be the best that we have in this given scenario. We definitely need more instruments in The Sims 4. We have not gotten one in a very long time. We get like new instruments and new packs. I actually think that the guitar I used is from Lovestruck, but in terms of a brand new instrument, we haven't gotten that in a long time. And I guess what they'll probably do at this point is do some kind of a rock band or bands type of pack and add a whole bunch of instruments. But in my case, my biggest preference would hopefully be some more jazzy type of instruments, saxophones, clarinets, more those type of vibes, because we really just don't have anything equivalent in the game right now, and there's definitely some places that I could go back and add those and some characters that could use them. Flute also would be really great to add to my Prince Eric. Because the bar and the stage are taking up quite a bit of space in the bar area upstairs, and I still needed room to probably do some tables and things, I ended up doing an underground level, which is not uncommon to have the bathroom underground in a bar. I feel like it's extremely common actually here in London, so didn't really have a problem with that. But one feature that I did want to include and I felt like was important, Hopper is seen here getting a massage from somebody, and I never get to use the massage table. It's pretty much just going to be for a spa, which I haven't done for the save yet, but spoiler, we are doing one later on in the life of Oasis Springs. I'm not going to give any more details, but it is coming. I just thought it was such a good use of an item that we do have in game, and I didn't want to pass it up, so I knew I had to have space for it. In the movie, he is on an upper level of the sombrero, but because of the way The Sims works, I wasn't going to be able to do that without physically building multiple levels. I could have used like platforms and things, but it would have gotten messy in here and it's a little bit too small of a space, so I opted to put it downstairs, have your own little private massage room. There's one table down there, and I ended up popping the TV in there as well that is required for the bar lot type. So you could get a massage, watch TV, and it kind of like doesn't disturb from the upstairs area. I will probably lock that door in the Disney save because I feel like Sims will gravitate towards it just because of the TV, and that doesn't have to be the main focus, or it shouldn't be, I would say. Also, darts are shown in the movie, so we've got a little dartboard going in here, and I put confetti all over the floor. I've been having a lot of fun with the Party Essentials kit. I use it a lot in Bugs Life builds, and I just felt like it was the right vibe. There is a lot of liveliness here. There are a lot of bugs seen dancing and partying and yelling, and I could just imagine them like throwing confetti and having a really good time, and it kind of like messing the place up, because I don't have like that big element of dirt and mess here the way that Bennett's does. It's a little bit more like nice and clean, so that's my way of like kind of dirtying up the aesthetic a little bit. And I know that was a bit of a shorter build today, but we are all done with Bugs Life. I am going to be making Hopper and his brother. It'll be a short little cast video that should come out a couple days after you guys see this, but yeah, we're pretty much done with it. Let me know what your favorite build from all of Bugs Life has been so far, if you've been checking everything out, and definitely leave your guesses for the next movie that we're going to be doing. We are staying in that Bugs Life neighborhood to do that one final larger lot. It's a residential, and it is a Pixar movie that I have not done yet. It's also going to be a movie that only gets one single lot, kind of like how I did Atlantis over in Tartosa, where I could only do one thing for the movie. This is also one of those movies that there's not a lot of locations to go off of. It's a little bit more nature-based. The characters are odd. They are a variation family. I don't know how else to say that without giving it away. They may not be human. Leave your guesses down below. I'm so curious if anybody's gonna get it. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below or the one at the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will talk to you all in the next one.